Water, water. It's everywhere we look, right? It's in the air we breathe, the food we eat, and the very ground we walk on. It's the lifeblood of our planet. From the vast oceans that cover more than 70% of our Earth's surface, to the little puddles that form after a gentle rain, water is omnipresent. It's what makes our planet so special, so full of life. Without water, there would be no lush green forests, no vibrant coral reefs teeming with marine life. But here's the thing, only 1% of all that water is actually usable by us humans. The rest is either salty ocean water or locked away in glaciers and ice caps. That's why we gotta talk about the water cycle, nature's very own recycling system. It's a process that purifies and redistributes water, making it available for all living beings. This amazing cycle ensures that water keeps moving, from the earth to the sky and back again. It involves processes like evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. It's a continuous process that's been happening for billions of years, and it's what keeps our planet alive and kicking. Imagine a world where this cycle didn't exist. Life as we know it would be impossible. Without the water cycle, things would be pretty dire, let me tell you. Deserts would expand and fertile lands would turn barren. Think about it. No more rain to water our crops, no more rivers to quench our thirst. Agriculture would collapse, and cities would struggle to provide clean water to their inhabitants. And don't even get me started on the weather. The water cycle is crucial for regulating weather patterns and maintaining the balance of our ecosystems. The water cycle plays a huge role in keeping our climate in check. It influences everything from tropical storms to the melting of glaciers. So you see, understanding how it works is not just about being good students of science, it's about understanding how we can protect our planet and ourselves. By conserving water and protecting our natural resources, we ensure a sustainable future for generations to come. Now let's dive right into the nitty-gritty of how this water cycle actually works. It's a fascinating journey that water takes, transforming from one state to another, and it's happening all around us all the time. The first stage is evaporation, and it's as simple as it sounds, water turning from liquid to gas, or what we call water vapor. This process is crucial for the water cycle to continue. Imagine a hot day. You're sweating, right? Well, that sweat is mostly water, and as it sits on your skin, the sun's heat makes it evaporate. This is a small-scale example of evaporation, but it's happening on a massive scale in nature. The same thing happens with puddles, lakes, and even the mighty oceans. These bodies of water are constantly losing water to the atmosphere through evaporation. The sun's energy acts like a giant hairdryer, heating up the water and causing the water molecules to zoom around faster and faster, until they escape into the air as invisible vapor. This energy transfer is what drives the entire process. Now, the oceans are the real MVPs of evaporation, accounting for a whopping 86% of all the water that enters the atmosphere. This is because of their vast surface area and the constant energy they receive from the sun. But it's not just the sun and bodies of water that contribute to evaporation. Everyday activities and natural processes also play a role. Plants play a part too, through a process called transpiration. This is where plants release water vapor into the air from their leaves. Think of it like plants sweating. They release water vapor from tiny openings on their leaves called stomata, and this too adds to the moisture in the air. This process is essential for plant health and also contributes significantly to the water cycle. So we've got all this water vapor floating around in the atmosphere. This water vapor is essentially tiny, invisible droplets of water that have evaporated from various sources like oceans, rivers, and even plants. Now what? Well, this is where condensation comes in. Condensation is the process by which water vapor turns back into liquid water. It's a crucial step in the formation of clouds. As the water vapor rises higher into the sky, it starts to cool down. The higher it goes, the cooler the temperature gets, which is essential for the next steps in cloud formation. Remember how heat made those water molecules zoom around like crazy during evaporation? Well, when you take away the heat, they start to slow down. This cooling effect is what causes the water vapor to lose energy and begin to condense, and as they slow down, they start to clump together, kind of like when you put a bunch of marbles in a bowl, they naturally want to huddle close. These tiny droplets of water begin to merge, forming larger droplets. These clumps of water molecules eventually become visible to our eyes as clouds. The process is gradual but fascinating, as these tiny droplets gather to form the clouds we see in the sky. The type of cloud that forms depends on a whole bunch of factors like temperature, humidity, and wind, but the basic principle is always the same: water vapor cooling and condensing back into liquid water. Different conditions can lead to the formation of various types of clouds, from fluffy cumulus clouds to dark, ominous storm clouds. Condensation is what gives us those beautiful puffy white clouds on a sunny day, but it can also lead to the formation of storm clouds that bring rain, snow, or even hail. These weather changes are all part of the dynamic nature of our atmosphere. It's all part of the water cycle's amazing balancing act. This cycle is essential for life on Earth, as it regulates our climate and provides the water necessary for all living organisms. Alright, so we've got our clouds all formed up there in the sky. They're chock full of condensed water droplets just waiting to be unleashed. And that's where precipitation comes in. It's the water cycle's way of giving back to the Earth what it took away. When those tiny water droplets and clouds collide and combine, they become bigger and heavier, until they're just too heavy to stay suspended in the air. And that's when gravity takes over, pulling them back down to Earth in the form of precipitation. Now, precipitation can take many forms depending on the temperature and the conditions in the atmosphere. We've all experienced rain, of course, those refreshing showers that quench the thirst of plants and animals alike. And then there's snow, those delicate flakes that blanket the ground in a pristine white. But precipitation can also be more dramatic, like hail, those icy pellets that can fall with surprising force, or sleet, a mix of rain and ice that makes for a slippery commute. Section 5: Collection, water gathers and flows. So, our water has made its grand return to Earth in the form of precipitation. Now what, does it just sit there? Of course not. This is a cycle, remember? The collection phase is all about water finding its way back to where it can begin the cycle all over again. Some of the precipitation that falls soaks into the ground, replenishing groundwater supplies and keeping plants happy. Some of it flows downhill, forming streams and rivers that eventually make their way back to the ocean. And some of it collects in lakes, ponds, and reservoirs, providing a vital source of water for humans and animals alike. But the collection phase isn't just about water flowing over the surface. A lot of it seeps down into the ground, infiltrating the soil and rocks below. This groundwater is a vital source of fresh water for many parts of the world, and it plays a crucial role in sustaining ecosystems and supporting human activities. Section 6: Weather and climate. The water cycle's influence. Now let's talk about the weather, shall we? Because the water cycle isn't just about moving water around, it's also the engine that drives our planet's weather patterns. Remember evaporation? Well, when water evaporates, it takes heat energy with it, cooling the surrounding air. That's why you feel cooler when you stand in front of a fan. The moving air speeds up evaporation from your skin, creating a cooling effect. On a larger scale, this evaporation and condensation process is what creates clouds, rain, and all the other weather phenomena we experience. The movement of moisture and heat through the atmosphere drives wind patterns, creates storms, and influences temperature and humidity levels around the globe. And it's not just the day-to-day weather that's affected. The water cycle plays a crucial role in regulating Earth's climate over long periods. The oceans, for example, act as giant heat sinks, absorbing and releasing heat slowly, which helps to moderate temperatures and prevent extreme swings in climate. Section 7: Ecosystems, lifeblood of the planet. We've talked a lot about the physical processes of the water cycle, but what about its impact on life on Earth? Well, to put it simply, the water cycle is the lifeblood of our planet's ecosystems. Every living thing, from the tiniest bacteria to the largest whale, needs water to survive. Plants need water for photosynthesis, the process by which they convert sunlight into energy. Animals need water for drinking, for regulating their body temperature, and for a whole host of other bodily functions. And entire ecosystems rely on the availability of water to thrive. Think about a lush rainforest, for example. The abundance of rainfall supports a staggering diversity of plant and animal life. Or consider a desert oasis where a single source of water can sustain a surprising array of creatures. The water cycle is what makes all of this possible. Section 8: Human impact, a delicate balance. So far, we've focused on the natural processes of the water cycle, but it's important to remember that humans are part of this cycle too, and our actions can have a significant impact. We rely on the water cycle for everything from drinking water to irrigation for our crops to transportation and industry. But as our population grows and our demands on water resources increase, we're putting a strain on this delicate balance. Pollution from factories and farms can contaminate our water sources, making them unsafe for drinking or harming aquatic life. Deforestation can reduce rainfall and increase erosion, leading to soil degradation and water scarcity. And climate change, driven by human activities like burning fossil fuels, is already altering the water cycle in profound ways. We're seeing more extreme weather events like droughts and floods, which can disrupt water supplies, damage infrastructure, and displace communities. Section 9. Conclusion: Our shared responsibility. The water cycle is a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of all things on Earth. It's a continuous, life-sustaining process that has been shaping our planet for billions of years. But as we've seen, human activities are increasingly impacting this delicate balance. It's up to us to learn from the past and to act responsibly in the present to ensure a sustainable future for ourselves and for generations to come. We need to reduce our impact on the water cycle by conserving water, reducing pollution, and transitioning to a more sustainable way of life. By working together, we can protect this precious resource and ensure that the water cycle continues to sustain life on Earth for generations to come. Remember, every drop counts.